Hi, and welcome to A Drummer's Guide to, the podcast all about the things that it takes to be a professional musician aside from actually playing your instrument, which we kind of take as a given around here. My name is Emily Dolan Davies. I have been playing the drums since 1999. I've been professional since 2008 and helping other people on their professional journeys since 2018. And let me tell you, loving every second of it. So as I sort of said in my last episode, if you listen to that one, I want to start out by thanking individual Patreon members that have been supporting this podcast, for whom I am very grateful, like beyond grateful for, because it's one thing to know that this podcast is resonating enough with people, but to actually have people, you know, put their hand in their pocket, it's next level, and I never want that to be sort of taken for granted. Never, ever, 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 ever. So, with that being said, today's Patreon member that I would like to thank is Fernando Ribeiro Neto. Now, Fernando, when I tell you, has been a supporter of things that I do, whether that be my remote recording studio, whether that be my Ask M series that I did like 11 years ago, or 12 years ago, on YouTube, Feathers and Cogs, every gig that I've sort of been on, whatever, all my social medias. Fernando has been there, and Fernando has been a staunch supporter from like early days. Now, why I say this, first of all, it's incredible and I am so thankful. Thank you, Fernando. But today I realized I've been saying his name wrong this whole time, and arguably probably still am saying it wrong. I just went to look it up on some pronunciation websites because I was like, I feel like maybe I haven't been saying it right. I've been saying Fernando Ribeiro Neto. First of all, it's so incorrect and so not even slightly how it's spelt. So I don't know where I got that from, but I've just latched onto it. But the second thing is, so not only is that just completely wrong, so it's Ribeiro, but also that's such an English way. I think it's meant to be Ribeiro, I think. So Fernando Ribeiro Neto, I think. I apologize for all these years that I've been butchering your name. I apologize. I'm a nightmare. Fernando, you know me well enough to know the amount of people's names that I've messed up. But anyway, I just wanted to say an individual thank you to you, Fernando. And as I said on the last episode, I will just gradually go through all of the Patreon supporters that have been with me for a long time, and Fernando's been here since pretty much the beginning of the podcast, as always. And I will go through the people, and hopefully up to present day, although people are still supporting, like every week new people are coming in. I'm like, oh gosh, it's lovely problems to have. Please let me still have them. But yeah, so just bear with me. Your name will be read eventually. So anyway, let's get on to this week's episode. So this week it's an episode that I have had planned for probably a month or two now, but things just kept coming up and I was like getting diverted. My creative brain was getting diverted, but finally I'm getting around to this. So I must apologize for this question taking so long to be replied to. But this question is from Zach O'Loughlin. I think that's right. Oh my goodness, I didn't even write down his name. I wrote down the question. Yeah, Zach O'Loughlin, aka Zach on drums. So Zach sent in a question. And if you'd like to, first of all, if you want to support on Patreon, go look up patreon.com/Emily Drums, fine, whatever. But more importantly, almost, is if you want to ask your own question for a future episode, then if you go to emilydrums.com/AMA, as in ask me anything, it's really useful that I always look up whenever I'm thinking of these things because I'm a visual person, but then it just appears above me when I do my post-editing, when I'm writing out the things, if you're watching this. If you're listening to this, irrelevant. But anyway, sorry, I'm in a bit of a woo. what's the word? A distracted mood, I think is the right thing. Anyway, Zach O'Loughlin, first of all, thank you for your question. I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to get round to answering this because I think it's a fantastic question. And I will start out just by reading it. I've copied it so that I read it word for word because sometimes when I go for the gist of things, I miss things. So we don't want that. Anyway, so it says, "Hi Emily, thank you so much for facilitating a place I can ask these questions." My pleasure, Zach. Honestly, I feel like it's more my pleasure than it is yours. So long story short, I very recently made the decision to work my notice as a full-time music teacher to focus on becoming a full-time professional freelance drummer and educator. Gotta be honest, I'm really scared. My notice ends in February and I immediately embark on a UK tour for all of March that I'm absolutely buzzing for. I have a fairly sized private drum tuition client base, but I'm starting to get worried about what 2025 is going to look like after March. I have many questions to ask, but my burning ones are, how do I market or present myself best online to help me bag more gigs and more student signups? So, okay, first things first, congratulations, Zach. You are doing the brave thing. You are following your passion, if you like. You're doing the hard thing, and I commend you for that. It's not easy, and the fact that you're coming straight out of doing the music teaching job in schools to a tour, fantastic. You've nailed this, can I just say, from the get. You have nailed this, and the fact that you already have like private teaching students as well, I think you're in such a great spot. But let me tell you, such a normal reaction. Of course you're scared. I'd be worried if you weren't. I would be like, I think there's something wrong with your brain. It is terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying going from some form of stability, if you like, to going, oh my gosh, you're kind of betting on yourself. And that is a terrifying prospect. But let me tell you, soon, once you sort of like get into the rhythm of doing it and that, the power of knowing that you can bet on yourself and you can rely on yourself, and that no matter what happens, you will find a way, is the most empowering, freeing thing to know about yourself. It's something that there's not many things that I believe inherently and truly and without any question. And as someone who is not, historically, I've not been particularly self-confident in a lot of aspects of my life, and various other things which I won't bother going into. If you've listened to any amount of episodes, I'm sure I've divulged enough for you to understand I have a slightly complicated personality, as we all do. We're all interesting beings. But one thing that I know for sure, it is a core belief of mine, is that I can do things. That sounds so weak, but no, it is. I can do things. If I choose to do something, I will find a way, and I know that I can do that, and I know that it will be hard. I know unexpected things will happen. Absolutely, that is a given. But I know that I will find a way, and I know that in myself, and it's because I've just decided to do things and then been really stubborn and seen them through. And weirdly, I was talking to my therapist about this week, and as it turns out, obviously with everything in life, there is an upside, there is a downside. So my laser focus in that way has served me so well in my career. I will say that it has its pitfalls because it's made me very inflexible in some ways, but equally that is the reason that I've been successful in the things that I've done. Not in everything, don't get me wrong. I've definitely made huge mistakes. I've failed, if you like, at certain things, but the things that I kind of commit to, I make it work. Like, that is my motto for life. I will make it work. So anyway, let's not talk about me much more. Let's talk about you, Zach, and anyone else that's sort of like going through this. I actually have a student who is currently in the process of going through this to some degree. And yeah, if you're going through this, if you're thinking about this making this leap, and it is a leap, and there, you know, that saying leap of faith, there is an element of that, there is. And again, this kind of betting on yourself thing makes it a little easier to stomach. It doesn't make it easy, and it's still going to be hard, and I'm not going to pretend like it's not. It's going to be difficult. There will be moments of doubt, there will be moments where things won't be working, and you know, but then there will be other times where things start to work, and then you're like, oh my god, it's working. It's the best feeling in the world. It's literally that feeling, to me, never gets old, and it's one of the greatest joys of kind of for me at least, starting new ventures or projects or whatever. And when you start to see it work, and it's like, oh my gosh, is this a thing? Have I made a thing? I think I've made a thing, and I think it's working. There is no high like that. So Zach, I'm so excited for you, because you're kind of on the start of that journey, and making this journey that is uniquely your own, and no one will be able to tell you definitively like what to do, what not to do, but I will offer my opinions on what I feel would be a good way to tackle this, because again, I think you're in such a fantastic position. So kudos to you for putting yourself in this position of, first of all, going straight on tour. And I understand the fear of after March, like, oh no, but let's talk about it. So in terms of like touring or outplaying and teaching, to me, I would see that as two very separate things, because hopefully I'll remember to go into why in a minute, but yeah, okay, I need to like center my thoughts. So let's separate these two things. So let's talk firstly about the touring side of things. Okay, so you're about to go on a tour. What I would say is, milk that baby. Now, I would leverage this tour that you're about to go on to the nth degree. And what I mean by that is, I already looked. So for anyone that is interested in Zach and his story and what he's up to, if you go to instagram.com/Zach on drums, that's ZACHONDRUMS. In fact, yeah, I can put it up as well. I will put it up as a link. Look, I will look up and it will be there if you're watching. So yeah, what I'd say is, I can see that you already post on your Instagram, which is fantastic. Can we talk about the aspect ratio change this week? That was bizarre. Where did that come from? Very strange. Anyway, all my posts look slightly odd, so that's something I need to do today. Anyway, so you're already a little bit active on Instagram, which is great. I see that you post on your stories, which is fantastic. And what I would say is, leverage every aspect of this tour. And what I mean by that is, for instance, be posting on your stories. I'm going to say obviously a lot, and maybe it isn't obvious, so I apologize, and I don't mean to sound like an idiot, but okay. So post on your stories like aspects of your day that you're up to, because here's my rule, here's my belief, right? I was taught this from very young. It was from my best mate's dad, and he said to me, everybody loves somebody that's busy. Everybody wants someone that's busy. And I've grown up with that belief, and I believe it. I really do. I think the busier you are, the more people are going to want you, because there must be a reason that you're working. So since you have this tour, make sure you post about it. A lot of people disappear on social media when they go on tour because they're working, and I get that. But what happens is, you disappear, nobody thinks about you. I don't mean that in a rude way, but it's true. And then they come back going, hey, can I have some work? And it's like, it's awkward. Whereas if you're posting as you're on tour, you're still top of mind for people. You know, someone might be thinking about, I need a drummer for a gig, and they're mindlessly scrolling. They're doom scrolling, and in the back of their head, they go, I need a drummer for this tour. And then Zach on Drums comes up on the stories, posting, oh my gosh, Zach on drums is Zach on tour right now. And let's get him. That makes so much sense. He's out there doing it anyway. He's clearly got the experience. Wicked. Zach, how you doing? When do you get off the road? I've got a tour that starts in April. Do you want to come out on it? That would be the ideal. But in order to do that, show yourself to be busy, but also, secondary benefit, you're top of mind. Now, so as I was saying, if you want to post on your stories, it's a great way to kind of be in people's consciousness. It's what I try and do. I've kind of taken my foot off the gas a little bit with the stories thing, and we're posting actually, just to see. It's quite interesting trying stuff, but see what works for you. I'd say in that scenario, just post and post and post. Like, it's not a thing. And then, so that would be your stories. So these are more candid, more in the moment photos, videos. I would highly suggest doing some talking to camera stuff, because the thing that will tip you over the edge in terms of getting both gigs and students is personality. I know that is like, I'm pretty certain 90% of the reason that I get gigs is because of my, like, how I come across, if you know what I mean. I'm almost certain that is true. At least I choose to believe that's true. Let's face it, like, I don't know whether you've seen me play drums. I'm okay, I'm fine, I can play. I'm not the best drummer in the world, not by a long stretch. But if my personality gels with people on the road, then they're going to call me, and that's that. So anyway, stories. They are the more disposable bits of content, if you like. Now, what I will say is that you could collate them into a highlight of the tour that you're doing if you wanted. That's fine. I've done that before. I'm not sure that it's made much of a difference, but maybe it's good actually if you're in the early stages of kind of being on tour, being on the road. Maybe it's good to kind of use it like almost a CV. So it can be a highlight reel with the name of the band, tour. And then it's just all your, maybe not all, but selectively pick out a bunch of things that look good, you know, full venues of you playing, you know, good performance videos, stuff like that. Anyway, so that's one thing. Now, when it comes to your actual feed, your posts, I was talking to a different student actually yesterday about this. And we were talking through it, and I thought, yeah, actually, this is a really good way of seeing it. See your Instagram, or TikTok if you like. I know there's been some weirdness with that this week, but as your kind of rolling CV. That's how I see my Instagram. If you scroll back, it's quite a good indicator of what I've been up to. Sometimes there have been dead points. In fact, no. Oh, now that I say this, no, this is my new profile. So no, it isn't, because my other profile got deleted. So I don't have that. Oh, that's annoying actually. I don't have that history of all the gigs and stuff that I've done. But anyway, this new one is definitely a rolling sort of like CV of what I've been up to, right? And if you see it like that, it becomes more purposeful in the respect of what you're posting, if that makes sense. So for me, stories is more kind of candid content. Posts are more, if someone comes to your profile, that's the first thing, that's the first impression. So with the pinned post, that really is your first impression, because I don't know about you, but if I go to a new profile, I will always go to their pinned post first. See, right, what are you presenting to me? Who are you? Like, that's what I want to know. Who are you? What do you do? And it's the same for just generally the posts on your feed. So I would, if I were in your position, Zach, I would throw up a camera at your gigs. This is what I used to do especially with Kim Wilde and Howard Jones actually. I would throw up a camera in different positions each gig, and I did video some of the stuff, but honestly, the sound's so rubbish. It never sounded good, although it is good for visuals if you're going to use it on top of other audio. So maybe throw up a camera for a bit of video if you wanted. But for stills, it's fantastic. So set your camera on a timer to take photos every 3 seconds or every 5 seconds or every 10 seconds to get some interesting shots. And that way you can sort of like maybe edit them a bit in terms of colors or whatever, and post them and be like, great show last night at X. I think that is a really fantastic way to show what you do. What I will also say with that is there needs to be an element of performance in your performance, which seems obvious, but I think all of us, myself included, when we perform, we move a lot less than we think we are. So I'd say leading up to this tour that you're going to do, maybe do some filming yourself and watching it back just to see how you're performing, how big you're performing. It might feel like you're going big, but maybe you're not. And just try and create some shape with what you're doing, some create a compelling performance. And I'd say, you know, I've done a few podcast episodes on specifically on performance. I think I did one fairly recently. It might even just be called Performance. So go check that out, because I sort of go into more detail on that. So yeah, that is how I would leverage your tour. What I would also do to leverage it is, I don't know where you're touring and if you know people in the cities that you're touring, but if you do, reach out to them. If you know musicians in cities that you're going to, reach out, even if it's tentatively, reach out and say, hey, I'm playing in your city, I'd love to get you down to a gig, let's go for a coffee beforehand, or let's go for lunch, or let's go for dinner. Maybe not dinner, that never works for me. I have a process before my gig, I don't need to be eating dinner. Well, it's not eating dinner, I just have a process. So yeah, let's go for lunch, let's go for a coffee, and just go hang out. Go chill for an hour, go catch up for an hour, go make friends for an hour, whatever it is. If you really, again, depending on the tour, if you really wanted to gun it, you could also go to gigs after your tour. Often there's late night jam nights if you're in a big city, certainly. So maybe find out what's going on there, go with other band members, see what's about. Just see what's about, go chat to people. That's it. As I say, if you're in a town or a city playing a gig and there's someone that you tentatively know, offer them tickets. It's a great way to develop relationships. It really is. I do that all of the time. It's fantastic. It's so good. It's such a great excuse to meet up with people that maybe you only have a relationship with online. For me, for instance, like doing the remote recording thing, honestly, there are hundreds of people that I know across the world that I have never met. There are maybe 20 out of those hundreds that I have actively met up with in the most random places on the planet, and it is the best to actually be able to be like, hey, I'm standing face to face with you. It's amazing. And then also it just develops that relationship further. And whether it's remote recording, whether it's touring, whether it's anything, or teaching even, you have now created a bond that is stronger. And I think that's great. At the end of the day, that's all this industry is relationships. That's all this life is relationships. So take advantage of that situation. And like I say, even if you know them tentatively, even if you've had a brief conversation over Instagram, just reach out and say, by the way, I'm in your town, do you fancy coming out to a gig, or do you fancy going for a coffee? Do it. Like, absolutely do it. So aside from that sort of like on tour shenanigans, if you like, I would also start to plan for after the tour, and this is whilst you're on the tour, and that's things like making a plan, for instance, to go to local jam nights when you get back, reach out to musicians and just be like, hey, I'm just on the road at the moment with X, I'm back on Y, and I just wanted to put it out there, I'm there, I'm around to do some shows, to do some touring, to do some live work, however you want to put it. Reach out to, for you, Zach, other drummers, and say, you know, if you have any gigs that you need to dep out, I'm around as of Y. And yeah, just be in touch, I think, is the main thing. So that is what I'd say in terms of the live side of stuff. And yeah, I think that's that really. That's my key ways that I would leverage the tour that you're about to go on. Again, I'm so happy that you're literally going straight into a tour. It's so fantastic. That'd be so fun as well. So the second part is the teaching side of things. Now, this is for me slightly different. It's a slightly different approach, and in all honesty, I'll always be 100% honest with you lot, but I still have not found an effective way to showcase both my teaching side of things, as in my coaching, you know, career coaching side of things, and my live side of things, or my recording side of things. Like, let's say playing versus coaching. I have not found a good way of doing that on a single Instagram profile, for instance. So at the moment, I've pivoted mainly into the coaching side of things. I will share pictures of me playing live, but it will always be in the context of a new episode, for instance. So for that reason, I will say, and this is, I was going to semi-swear. Is it swear? I mean, it's not nice. It's a pain. Let's use nice words. It's a complete pain to do this, but I think that it does merit a thought, and that is to create two separate profiles, one for your teaching and one for your live work. And the reason that I say that is because, and again, it's so weird this, because these conversations that I've been having recently are all sort of in line with this. When you're thinking about a drummer that you want to hire, for instance, on a tour, the things that come to mind for me are, you want a drummer who obviously can play. That's kind of a given. Like, that's, if you can't play, none of this is relevant, so it doesn't matter. But aside from that, what you want is someone that is very confident in their instrument, that is solid, that feels great, that is a safe pair of hands. Now, these things can be shown on your profile by, even if you're doing like covers of songs or whatever, you can showcase your playing. If you've thrown up a video, a camera at a gig and there's video, you can show, maybe the sound isn't great, but you can show that you are solid. Even if you've got different audio over the top of it, there's a presence that you bring. If you can bring a presence to the stage, if you can entertain people, if you can perform, these are things that people will be looking for as a musical director, as fellow musicians, as an artist, as a band, whatever it is. When it comes to teaching, however, often you will want to post things like exercises to do that your students could do. And often these are not, how can I say this? They're not something that would be attractive to another musician. They're attractive to other drummers. You go, oh, that's a great sticking. I like that. That's interesting. But you're not there to be like, ooh, look at the confidence in that sticking. It's not, I don't think I've ever seen, I've seen people confidently do stickings, but you're not going to like perform, you know what I mean? You're not on stage. So it's a slightly different mindset. And therefore I would suggest keeping that very different, because as I say, if you've got a performance profile, a live profile, a recording profile, it's a very different headspace and a very different audience. Think about who you're making your content for versus drummers that are looking to improve, get better, all of that. Because the thing that I've found with the sort of teaching, coaching side of things, first of all, personality is like key. Absolutely key. And I would say if you can talk to camera, and I personally would do like mini lessons. If I were a traditional drum teacher, I would absolutely do mini lessons where I'm talking to camera, explaining the thing, then do the sticking, and then leave it at that. Because I don't know about you, but having lessons, it's the personality is the most important thing. I need to be able to connect with you. So if I can connect with you one way, first of all, you show yourself, then that is going to be more likely that I'm going to get in touch with you, right? So I'd say sort of really focus on bringing that out. So not just the mini lessons of stickings, there has to be an element of personality going on as well, if that makes sense. So I would definitely say that. Also, it's really great to show an element of vulnerability. That's certainly what I try and do in these podcasts on my socials at the moment. It's like, I'm just here going, hi, I'm an imperfect human. I'm trying to do a thing. Are you trying to do a thing? Maybe I can help you do your thing, because I've done a thing in the past. That's literally it. And then going, and look at all these mistakes I've made. So I think there does need to be an element of vulnerability. And again, you can show that in your own practice videos, for instance, and just let people into the fact that we're all on a journey learning here. We all are. But again, if you're being hired by someone, you don't want that question of doubt. You want solidity. Not sure that's the right word, but you want to be solid. They want to know. There needs to be an element of certainty. I'm booking this person because I am certain that they will get the job done well. When it comes to teaching, it's a little more ambiguous, I think. And again, it's not about being certain of anything other than I'm drawn to this person. And you're not going to be, look, not everyone's going to be drawn to you. There are plenty of people that are not drawn to me. They are annoyed by me. And that is fine. I don't have an issue with that because the people that are drawn to me are so fantastic. And we kind of speak the same language, if you like. We're always very, it's people that like to chat, essentially. That's the top and bottom of it. So I would say that, definitely. And then another thing that I would say, now you can do also, actually, I've just thought of this. This is a great idea, is you could do little mini lessons whilst you're on the road, maybe backstage at a gig, because again, it kind of feeds into this, like, I'm a professional doing this right now. And if you would also like to be a professional doing this right now, then here's a sticking, let's have some lessons sort of thing. So yeah, you could definitely leverage the tour that you're about to do that. Maybe you can do a little sticking thing on stage in soundcheck or something, like, I don't know. It's up to you. It's a very creative process. That's the other thing. Like, treat this as a creative process. I find it very fun. So there's that. Also, offering some sort of lead magnet is always a great thing. So offering maybe I don't know, maybe you could make a free little mini course of like a set of drum lessons that people can download in return for their email address, which is really good. And then you can sort of like just check in with them, how's their progress going with their drumming, or maybe you can offer like a free assessment of someone's playing and offer them a couple of things to maybe look at to improve their playing, maybe a couple of exercises they can work on, or maybe even a free 30-minute drum lesson. You can offer that, and that will bring in people that may be interested, and you can cultivate those relationships essentially. And then obviously you've got the kind of traditional things like advertising, local advertising, whether that's in, I don't know, coffee shops, or whether that, I mean, you could do advertising on Meta, Facebook, Instagram, and get very, very, very specific with the location. I do advertising. I think it's a really great way of getting new eyeballs that are very look into it, do some searches, but you can get very specific and target, it's an awful word, target, it makes it sound so nefarious, target very specific locations or very specific demographics of potential students. Really, really useful. You don't even need to spend that much money really to get some new eyeballs on your profile through the door. So I'd say maybe take a look at that, basically. I think that's my 2 cents on it. And I think that, I hope that it has helped spark some ideas for you, Zach. But again, I just want to commend you on taking the brave step. It's terrifying. Absolutely. There's no two ways about it. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. It is. It's absolutely terrifying. But once you start, once things start working, you will feel so empowered. Oh my goodness. I think even now, just coming out of that job, going onto a tour, that feeling must be fantastic. And let me just also say, there will be down moments. There will be moments that I think I've already said this anyway, but where you will be doubting yourself. Things might not be going as you thought they would, but I think your ability to adapt will be the thing that will keep you working. Just know that there's never a single thing that will work and always work. No, it's like that in life, isn't it, really? You will always need to adapt at some point, and it might not be for a year, 5 years, whatever, but at some point things will change. So you may as well get used to finding out a way and finding ways that you work best as well. Another thing is try not to overload yourself. I know it's me saying that, which is ironic, but yeah, it is a thing, because that's the other thing. When you start working in this way, it's very hard to say no. It's very hard to say no, but let's not worry about that for now. Let's worry about just getting tours under your belt and doing a great job and enjoying it, and then getting new students under your belt. But I'm sure you're gonna have a great time, and I look forward to seeing all your tour shenanigans. I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time. But anyway, I hope this helped you, Zach, and I hope that it's helped anyone else that is listening in a similar boat, or that, I don't know, maybe this is interesting. I don't know, maybe it's not, but if it's not, you're probably not listening anymore, so that's fine. If you are still listening and you've enjoyed this episode, then please do feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You know the drill. If you'd like to support this podcast, you now can on Patreon, like the lovely Fernando Ribeiro Neto. If you go to patreon.com/Emily Drums, if you would like to suggest a topic for an episode, a future episode, you can, if you go to emilydrums.com/AMA, as in Ask Me Anything. And if you would like some personal one-on-one coaching with me to help you with your career and where you want to be, then if you go to just emilydrums.com, yay, you can reach out there. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, whatever you're up to, and I look forward to seeing you next time for another subject. All right, lots of love to you. See you later. Bye.